I'm guessing Acidalia Planitia, New Mexico? I have a feeling it's going to be hard for me to trust Matt Damon on not Earth after Interstellar. Bold move to throw him right back into space. And Kate Mara at a computer while other people are doing things on not Earth draws even more parallels I doubt they want. And Jessica Chastain, forget it. These suits are super sleek.
Detected a storm approaching the Ares 3 mission site.
How'd they get Will McAvoy for this? I'm sure there are ways to make this even more terrifying, like sharks or bears or maybe a scary girl with black hair in front of her face. But this is up there as most horrifying experience I can think of. Waking up from being unconscious to find you've been abandoned on a deserted planet and you're about to suffocate. Oh, and you're skewered. Also, you're tethered to something really heavy by said skewer. Nope. Accurate. You can call this narration, I guess, which can be annoying done wrong, but all of Watney's journal entries keep us up to date with what's going on and keeps him from having to talk to a volleyball.
The oxygenator breaks, I'm gonna suffocate. If the water reclaimer breaks, I'll die of thirst. If the hab breaches, I'm just gonna kind of implode.
Yeah, add all that to my list from earlier.
Thanks. That's all you gotta say. Scariest environment imaginable.
None of the technology in this film seems futuristic and makes this entire experience feel current. I wonder what the difference between this sweet and sour chicken is and this sweet and sour chicken is. Also, I get that not everyone likes their meatloaf with gravy, so that's a variety win. Inspiration foreshadowing.
Nothing bad has ever happened from lighting hydrogen on fire.
Sarcasm win. That's what you get for trying to rip Tom Hanks off.
Because I'm stupid.
Honesty. Safety second, for when you forget about safety first. I know it probably seems like a simple thing, but The Martian gets some continuity wins throughout. For example, it's now Sol 54. Mark blew himself up on Sol 36. Almost 3 weeks later and he still has visible burns on his face. It would have been just as easy to pretend that those had healed. Life on Mars!
And all I have to know is what's left of our assets.
Well, your poop's gone if that's what you mean. Do you think Jeff Daniels ever regrets Dumb and Dumber? I mean, he's a great actor, but certain facial movements and I'm just seeing Harry Dunn.
I need you to authorize my satellite time. Ares 6 could bring his body home. We wait a year, nobody gives a.
Sometimes less is more. His argument was compelling enough we don't need to see the director agree. Just cut to the satellite context. Also, how do you get this job? In movies, it's often painted as an intern position, but I have a feeling you need a couple PhDs.
I'm gonna have to science the shit out of this.
I think you already did that.
One of the lessons was titled, "Don't dig up the big box of plutonium, Mark."
Radiation lessons.
Hey, come on, man. What are you It's all right.
NASA Food Service employees take their wall art very seriously.
It'll take 9 months.
The first time I heard Benedict Wong's voice, I immediately knew it was Kublai Khan from Marco Polo. But this dude loves sci-fi and movies about space. The Martian, Prometheus, Moon, and one of my favorites, Sunshine. A setting up communications montage is the fastest way to have complex astrophysical engineering conversations. Or not. Forgiveness win. I mean, seriously, they left him behind and he doesn't blame them. Strength of character. So that's how they snuck past the MPAA.
High school senior or coquettish ingenue.
This is really only one example, but Mark gets a levity win for keeping a smile on while dealing with failure and constantly being so close to death.
Props will last till Sol 912.
And it was at this very moment I realized that couldn't possibly be allowed to remain unchanged. So, thanks for the warning.
That's assuming nothing goes wrong.
I mean, why would you even say that? See what I mean? But kudos for keeping it interesting. He doesn't lose it too often, but this is a completely realistic reaction. Ridley Scott reminds us he directed Alien and Prometheus and promises Alien Covenant will be awesome.
I'm gonna dip this potato in some crushed Vicodin. It has been 7 days since I ran out of ketchup.
Just to be clear, kids, Vicodin is not a good substitute for ketchup. Cutting from the launch to this guy working on another option means this supply ship can't possibly make it. For me, this makes the explosion a little less heartbreaking. I mean, his idea has to be way more entertaining, right?
What the hell is Project Elrond?
Alright, whatever year it is in this universe, it's very unlikely that she wouldn't know about Lord of the Rings. It was taken from nerd culture and thrust into pop culture over the course of 3 years. However, having an original member of the Nine weighing in on the fictional meeting that he attended is just so meta it hurts. More importantly, Sean Bean doesn't even care.
I'm close enough to get a gravity assist and adjust course.
So, essentially the same plan as Armageddon then?
Yes.
Agreeing to save your friend. While I give Damon a whole lot of credit for his discipline to look scary gaunt and courage under fire, I'm glad that CGI is at the point now where actors don't need to put their health at risk for a role.
Makes me a pirate.
So, did he grow this beard just so he could make that joke? If so, that's spectacular. I guess he definitely had the time. Yeah, a couple hundred calories a day for months might make you a little forgetful. You would think that watching someone drive across a desert for 50 days might be boring, but we're drawn in the entire time. And Damon really conveys how monotonous but still exhilarating the whole experience would be.
You want to send him into space under a tarp.
Hey, a tarp's better than nothing at all. Never mind.
I think it might be the second one.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Could be the first one. Are you kidding me?
And suddenly thousands of people realized, yeah, sarcasm is hard to convey over text, and finally had an explanation as to why all their friends stopped talking to them.
So there's lunacy.
Don't you mean Martian-cy?
Because I like the way fastest man in the history of space travel sounds. I do like the way it sounds.
More honesty. A deconstruction montage is the fastest way to getting rescued from Mars. Matt Damon really pulled out an astounding performance. We can't possibly comprehend how emotional this would be, but he does a good job of showing us.
I'd get to fly around like Iron Man. Let's go, Iron Man.
All this liquid oxygen and some stain remover that contains ammonia.
Bomb-making lessons. Love.
Say 312? Great, I'll wave at you guys as I go by.
Always keeping it light. And while we all obviously know Mark is going to make it, this movie gets a no deaths in a space movie win. It has to be the first of its kind. This scene is fantastic, totally entertaining, and a perfect nail-biter closing to this movie. And he got to be Iron Man.
You do the math. You solve one problem, then you solve the next one.
This is what made this film really shine. It's not about luck or taking extraordinary measures, usually. It's about solving problems. And, as Mark so eloquently put,
Science the shit out of this.
Sean Bean is always a win. For a movie about Mars, we're really kept grounded in present time. Usually a Mars film means all kinds of future technology and, of course, holograms! But there really wasn't any of that in this movie. It all feels like it's happening now. It's definitely hard science fiction. Because of that, the idea that this was a true story kept running through my mind. And then I'd remember that we haven't put any astronauts on Mars yet, and I'd feel really stupid for a few seconds. But don't worry, it passed. Ultimately, this should speak volumes for the film. It's not the most action-packed movie of the year, but the pacing was solid and kept me intrigued the whole time. And the emotional moments all felt very genuine as well, thanks to an all-star cast and director. Ridley Scott loves beautiful establishing shots, and the scenery on Mars was no exception. Mars has never looked better, and all of the shots of the realistic-looking Hermes spacecraft are also as stunning as ever. But really, it's Matt Damon who carries this film with his dry wit. It's not easy to have way more than half the screen time to yourself, but like Tom Hanks before him, he does so with class, keeping us engaged while chuckling at his constant sarcasm.
In your face, Neil Armstrong.
One of my favorite things about The Martian is the lack of a villain other than Mars itself. Jeff Daniels dabbles in callousness, but ultimately humanity works together to bring Mark home. When you put this many talented people together, you end up with a great final product. I know not everyone is Ridley Scott's biggest fan, but he's made some masterpieces. The man directed Blade Runner, for goodness sakes. And somehow he was able to sneak space pirates into this. Really the only thing this movie was missing, though Boromir being present for Project Elrond made up for it, was a classic Sean Bean death. I mean, how hard would it have been to have a golf cart run him over at the end? Or a stray golf ball hit him in the head? Just a thought.
Good shot.